Hey, Bucks here. It's that time again. It is theme team ranking time. This theme team is kind of wild. This entire ranking, it's got what I consider the greatest theme team I've ever seen in doing this, right? Through my entire years. I really like looking back at something like this goes to show like how much top end content EA is putting out. Obviously, we crap on them for stuff like veterans and them not releasing good cards. But like a lot of the other cards they've released have really given teams, a fair shake against the more meta, that everybody would always used to run Dion, Vic, Moss, Megatron. They still run a bunch of those cards, but the theme team boosts I think are super healthy for the game. I want them to go more into this, maybe do a college theme team boost next year, but that's a different video. But what I want to talk about is the theme teams. Some of them obviously got more love than others. There are some that are haves and have-nots, and some teams, and we'll go over the end. I'm going to tier rank them, but we'll go through 1 through 32 and find out which one's the best right here. So, the worst one. Let me just go ahead. Let me get rid of the worst two right away. Panthers, Jaguars, find out why after the word from our sponsor. Rock Bottom Coins is the #1 place to get your Madden 21 coins. If you make coins for my videos, sell them to Rock Bottom. If you're buying, use my code GUTBOX for 15% off. So, why are these teams the worst? And I think Jags are the worst. Panthers, we're gonna go through like each tier as they come along. But here are the Panthers. It's just, sorry, Tex. Teddy Bridgewater ain't really it. They got some good receiving right there. Options, Shaqy's okay. Decent O-line, got a couple of holes in there, no big deal. But free safeties, not great. Chin's okay. You really got no users, so you got to throw it and waste 2 AP on Mills and Luke Kuechly. But this ain't going to be the only team like that. They just have kind of uninspiring options for the secondary, and you're going to kind of feel a little bit left behind as the theme team for the Panthers. Otherwise, the Jags, you could definitely tell the Mutt team hates Jags because they really don't give them a whole lot of love here. The offensive line, not great bookends, and those are the most important spots of the tackles. The wide receivers, McCardell's actually a pretty good wide receiver. Andre Johnson is now serviceable. Minshew is not it. And then you got Nelson, an 84 overall here. Wilson is whatever, your secondary. You got a decent piece there in Ramsey, but overall it's very uninspiring across the board for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, now let's go back to the tier list. And who is number 30 or in F tier with them? It's kind of a weird one. I didn't really expect them to rank this low, but it is the Broncos. The Broncos are not a great squad right now, and it's really down to one position, the most important position on the field, Tim Tebow, right? This is kind of like, early 2010s Broncos. Great team, before Manning got there. Tebow was there, and he's kind of like, they're winning games because, he's got magic behind his fingers, but, you don't get that magic in the video game. But otherwise, the rest of the squad, you're like, yeah, that's a really good rest of the squad. Like, I think this squad shoots up the rankings. They need another receiver, too, to be fair. When McCaffrey's your #1, that ain't pretty. But if they get a quarterback and maybe a weapon or two for receiver for the Broncos, yeah, they're going to shoot up the rankings. But right now, that's where they're at because they ain't great jack. The other one in the last tier, one more, basically the F tier, don't be caught anywhere with this theme team, is the Bengals. Now, a lot of these theme teams, like I was talking about, they're trash, but a lot of people just run 50 out of 50, so they sub in, right? The Minshew problem. Completely subbed in by just using a meta quarterback there, then all of a sudden, your team looks dramatically different. Same thing with a lot of things. They're only missing a few pieces because the Mutt team, like I said, is doing a pretty good job this year on kind of giving us a lot of top-end content. So, almost any theme team's usable with the right substitution. I'll just say it right there because I've used a lot of these things on my second channel. You can take a look at the link below. There's a lot of theme teams down there, and I've been through quite a few, especially in the top half, and there's a lot of usable stuff. Burrow is good. They got Chad Johnson, who's solid. Should get an upgrade soon. Boyd, solid. Higgins is good. But yeah, the tight ends are rough. Offensive line are kind of like the last things I look at, but it's solid there. Good safeties, really good safeties, especially with the boost. Roy Williams is a great user. But the cornerbacks really do throw a lot of struggle squad vibes at you. So, those are the F-tier teams. You're like, wow, those weren't too bad. Like I said, goes to the benefit of what the Mutt team has done this year. And, spreading out a little bit of love, getting a lot of the even teams that don't do great in the NFL, great cards. The Vikings are DT, and I think a lot of the team builder and team diamonds, standouts, that kind of gave a lot of love to those teams that traditionally wouldn't because they have small fan bases, so people aren't super angry about them not getting cards, and they're just not winning games in the NFL, so they don't really get Team of the Week cards. So, the Vikings, rough spot at tight end. They got 2 okay ones. The wide receivers are actually really nice. I really enjoyed. I actually made the Vikings team used it. They also have one of the top quarterbacks in the game, arguably the best quarterback in the game. So you're like, wait, how are they so low in the rankings? I scrolled down a little bit. Anthony Harris needs an upgrade bad. Harrison Smith actually plays below his overall. Linebackers aren't really looked at very often because you don't really see too many on the field. Their backups are silvers there. Then even their CBs are rough. So really, you're gonna hate yourself playing with a squad, and this might even be in the F tier. I might be generous to put them in the D tier. The only reason they're D tier is because their offense, but their defense, it's horrible. It is absolutely awful trying to play with those cards on the field. So Vikings D tier. I'm not gonna say numbers. I'm gonna say another D tier team. We are not gonna forget about the Titans, which is weird because it's weird that the team is this low in my rankings. I think it has to do with a lot with the kind of cards they've gotten because they had a pretty successful season, right? The offensive line is nice in the interior. Luwan's solid. Cook, Jonnu, 2 of the best tight ends in the game they also have. But wide receivers, phenomenal. Tannehill's okay too. Set feet, lead, high road master, I believe is his combo. Derrick Henry's a bruiser. Barry Sanders on every team, so running back kind of a wash. It's the defense again. The defense. They got Finnegan, Joseph. King's good though. But yeah, only having Vaccaro. I guess you can move Bayard over there. And then user Mills or Evans. You got Clowney's a decent pass rush along with Curse. So your defensive front is not bad. But yeah, having guys that can just be run past is not an enjoyable way of playing Madden. So that's why Titans are low, because their secondary is not very inspiring. Browns are low on the totem pole too. Don't love them either. And you can look at the overalls as I'm clicking into these things and kind of discover why. Their offensive line is very good, but again, one of the last things we look at for Madden because it doesn't really matter that much. Baker Mayfield ain't really it right now. They got some decent receivers here too. I might play Odell over Andre if I were actually using this team. Delpit is too long in the tooth. This was a launch day card. They're started at free safety. Delpit needs an upgrade. Poyer's solid. He doesn't really hit very hard though, so he's not really a thumping free safety or strong safety. He's more of a coverage guy, which is not a bad thing, but when you throw a hit stick against a guy, you really want him to at least get tackled instead of being shrugged off and just run for another 20 yards before the rest of your team can catch him. So that is unfortunate with a small guy at your safety. You really want the Sean Taylor Mays, Isaiah Simmons archetype there. Their DBs are not bad. Denzel Ward's a super stud. Williams ain't bad, and Hayden's pretty good too right now. But Hayden's definitely firmly in the pretty good category versus very good, which you really want for CBs. So another one was solid talent throughout, or kind of like the first one, solid talent throughout, but just uninspiring cards themselves. So it doesn't really do much, right? You want to have cards that are at least meta cards or near the top of the meta, so the theme team boost can bring you up to the 98, 99 speed. If you aren't there, if you have guys 96, 97 speed, 95 speed, I've seen some guys at 94. It ain't it right now in Madden. You really do need the top tier speed. Or something else if you're not a skill position to make you into that top tier, to kind of give you that impact for teams. We'll talk more about that as we go along. Detroit Lions. Logan Thomas is a very usable tight end, not exactly Darren Waller type right now. The wide receiver core is solid, not stacked. I'd probably use Galladay over Andre. Stafford is serviceable with gunslinger, no hot route master on him. Strong arm. His release is very average. Megatron at free safety with the speed boost becomes back to usable. Great safety there for user. You can throw him down, summon during the game. You can't put him in the sub linebacker screen. For some reason, they don't allow free safeties to do that, but then you can put Glover Quinn there. User him because he is a tall beast. Night Train Lane with the speed boost becomes, pretty much closer to relevant. Maybe a little long in the tooth right now. Same thing with True Font, but overall, like I said, solid cards across the board, but nothing too inspiring. I think there's it's just a good team, but when I was looking at think about doing a Detroit theme team, I'm there isn't anything fun or exciting on this team right now. They really haven't had a recent card release. I mean, we did get the playoff in the Super Bowl promo. They got one Super Bowl card because he played on the Super Bowl team, but yeah, it really wasn't Detroit Lions season because it was playoff season. No offense, Lion fans, but I go for the cheap shots. Next one on the list will be the Colts at D tier also. All right, we're getting near the end, not the end of the D tier. Colts. Colts. What's your problem? Because you do have Phillip Rivers now, and I think Phillip Rivers is a very, very, very good card. I really liked him. The problem is you can't really throw low passes with him because he's got the sidearm release and you'll hit your lineman a lot. So that will cause a few incompletions, sometimes a tip up for a pick. That's frustrating. Right side of the line is weak. Mo Ali Cox and Trey Burton are both serviceable tight ends. I like the receiver cores up to a point. Marvin desperately needs an upgrade. Should have made Hall of Fame. I guess he didn't. Andre Johnson, I think, will be fine. But yeah, they need some upgrades here. They need a Peyton Manning card, and then or Andrew Luck. Bob Sanders is great, but he isn't like awesome. You know, the height definitely affects Bob out there when there's better safeties that are taller, or very similar statted, if not better statted and taller. So Bob is very good, especially on the theme team. Very, 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 very good. But I do like height in my secondary, and Bob doesn't possess it. The rest of the team, you got some decent. Crow right there. Rhodes, not good, but yeah, I think solid cards. But again, nothing too exciting here, which is why they're so low on the list of the theme teams. Next up, we got the Bears. The Bears is the last of the D tier theme teams. Why do the Bears look so low? I think you can kind of see by this number. I know they have the MVP in Trubo. Sadly, they didn't make him his actual overall, which he should have been based off the award, which was a 99. Should be actually our first 101 overall card. Our only 101 overall card because he won that prestigious award. But, you know, Mutt teams stay haters, right? So, offensive line, meh. I mean, at least their bookends are the best ones. Trey Burton, like I said, is serviceable. Graham's a little long in the tooth, too. Hester's very fast, which is kind of what you want. Cordell Patterson's not bad. I might use him over Johnson here. Roy Williams played okay for me. I didn't love him, but I think he's an overall solid wide receiver versus what you can get right now. I mean, you can get a lot better receiver than that right now. Eddie Jackson, literally, he plays over his overall so hard, man. That Eddie Jackson, he fucks. He fucks real hard, and I like that. Amos, too, a good safety there. Got good linebackers, you know, and that's kind of like the Bears' whole thing is linebackers. And then Porter and Roll both play above their overalls also. So I actually don't mind the secondary, even though you see 92, 93. They're actually pretty good with those theme team boosts. So the Bears, I actually don't mind this squad overall. I wouldn't want to use it because of the quarterback situation, but, you know, you can always sub out a different quarterback. All right, into the C tier list. At the bottom of the C tier, it is going to be the Giants. The Giants, another one that suffers from a little bit of a quarterback problem, not having one of the top end of the, you'll see them, top end of the meta, awesome quarterbacks, right? None of those, like, you know, true game changers at that position hurts the squad. Ingram is good. Shockey is a little less good than Ingram. Your offensive line has a weak spot. Your receiving core, you know, like I said about McCaffrey, you need to start him. It ain't looking good. I'd actually start OBJ over him, then go Sterling there. But overall, Daniel Jones isn't really exactly what you want in the quarterback situation. Logan Ryan's okay, I think. I think he's 92 speed, boosted up to 96, so that's pretty solid. Collins is phenomenal. This guy is great. I'd probably use him. Maybe you can use your Peppers instead. But otherwise, I'm sure Giants fans would want to use one of the new linebacker right there in the middle. Lawrence Taylor, you know, the greatest pass rusher of all time right there. Teaming up with Strahan. You got Linval and Tomlinson in the middle. You can move Leonard Williams in there if you prefer. But overall, a very nicely balanced defense. But it doesn't have the playmakers that we see at a lot of other more top-end defenses. So while I say the word solid, it's not hard like a rock. And for that, it's a little bit lower on the tier list because solid pieces are fun. But when they come out a little wavier, it's kind of hilarious. Don't listen to me. I'm horrible. Forget that I ever said that. Texans. Why are Texans here? Basically this guy. They've also got great playmakers at wide receiver. Their tight end is not good, though. His speed, I believe, is 88. So we're up to 92 right there. Offensive line, a little bit better. They ended up moving Tunzel down the guard instead of tackle. But, you know, probably you want to put Tunzel there at tackle and switch down to the guard, the worst player. DeAndre Hopkins should get an upgrade. I'd probably use him over Andre. Personally, I think he's actually faster with the theme team boost than Andre. Justin Reed is really nice, but he's not a heavy hitter. And I actually do like guys. It wasn't like early in the year. They patched this about mid-year. I don't know which patch it was, but early in the year, you could hit stick anybody with anybody. For a few months there, Deion Sanders was the hardest hitting corner in the league. But they did patch it. Hit power, size definitely matters. And Jordan. Justin Reed does not have that, possess that sort of hit power to take down the bigger backs or any like the Barry Sanders, Kamara types. You can kind of hit stick them and bounce off of them too often with the Justin Reed. But yeah, like you can throw Kareem. You can use any of these guys at safety, so they have a lot of flexibility on defense, which I really enjoy. They do have Watt here. They moved down Clowney, so you got your ends right here. You got Thick in the middle, DJ Reader. That you could use him or Okoye. Okoye should be getting an upgrade soon. But overall, don't love Boye at all at your nickel. You could probably move down Quinn or Reed there. If you're not going to use them, you can use like Sam Mills or something. So Texans overall, very solid players. But again, I just don't love their, how do I say it more than like, meta-ness, right? I don't love their ability to kind of like make plays and not as exciting as a lot of the guys. Now, Jets. Jets are a weird case. Jets have some of the best names in Madden history on their squad in their DB core, but the fact that they haven't been updated in a while kind of lags their team behind in the theme team ranking, right? Joe Namath, first year in MUT that I can remember. It's been a while if he's been in here. Joe Namath, good card. I wish they gave him, one more throw power so we can get Gunslinger Howard Master. Instead, you have to settle for set feet lead. You could instead go with a more mobile quarterback for Vic, so you got options. He could be your fake field goal guy. I don't like Hogan. Like I said, he's serviceable here. Keyshawn is not that great. Crowder, maybe. I don't know. Santana Moss is a really good card, though. I like him. Brady's a little slow for tight ends. Blocking tight end, which is, fine if all the blocks weren't, predetermined animations. Jamal Adams, I might lurk with Steve Atwater instead of Adams and throw Reed back here. Maybe put Atwater and Lott there at sub linebackers. But overall, your pass rushers, Ellis, Abraham. Ellis a little slow. Maybe you want to move him inside a little bit. So your pass rusher would be, I don't think Mo Lewis has great, and Demario Davis doesn't have great pass rush skills. But overall, like I said, like some of the greatest players of all time, like Cromartie, phenomenal. Revis, phenomenal. But they just haven't been updated lately. So once they get upgraded, this team will be a whole lot better. Poole actually plays pretty well. I liked them when I had them there. But like I said, Ed Reed, Lott need upgrades too. Adams just got upgraded. So once they get their upgrades for their superstar cards, that's when this team's going to become a step above. So they're just a little out of date, a little long in the tooth, like I've said before, a little B. Arthured with it. So that's where they're down there at the C tier right now. But once they get those cards, they will shoot up because of how sexy it is to have very fast, very good corners. So even though they are pretty quick with the theme team boost as it is, you really want them 99 or bust right now. Next up on the list will be the Los Angeles Chargers. So the Chargers here at 94 overall. Load. What do we got? We got Gates, who, needs an upgrade. Not like need, but nice to have. One of your bookends is fine. The offensive line's a little underwhelming right there. But Cardell is fine. I think he gets the 99 speed on it. Lance Allworth's a very good option. He's a route runner archetype. I think he gets playmaker too, which is really cool. Keenan Allen, they're never given no respect. No respect at all. Herbert, him and Rivers, pick whatever one you want. They're both great. If you need the Hyrule Master, Rivers. If you want the strong arm for the gunslinger at cheaper prices, go with Herbert. I've used them both, and I've liked them both. Herbert did miss a few passes for me, and Rivers bounced guys off linemen, so pick your poison. They do have, if not, probably the best safety in the game. Like this guy, I think this guy's the best. Theme team boost, no theme team boost. This guy's number one. I was thinking maybe I would say Simmons, Sean Taylor, but Derwin James, he's made so many plays for me using him. He's all over. He's so fast, so agile. This guy's crazy. And then you got Bob Sanders there. If you user him, you can put Watkins in the middle. You can throw Weddle, who's surprisingly good this year. They always disrespect Weddle. They don't disrespect him. They give him realistic stats, but this year they artificially boosted his speed, so he's amazing. Otherwise, Junior Seau on next gen is the only linebacker that can stop Derrick Henry in his tracks because of how heavy he is, and weight matters on next gen more than it does in current gen. So I can see people on next gen using Junior Seau, Sam Mills in the middle of a 3-4 and just going at it. But on current gen, definitely you want safeties there so they jump against the pass. Same thing. I mean, technically the same thing happens on next gen, but the run I feel like it's a bigger deal on next gen than current gen. Not to say that the current gen run's not really good. It is, but you guys get what I'm saying. Next gen, it's even better. And they're also the secondary. The secondary is very nice too. They got Crow here, who I'd probably start over Aeneas. Aeneas is just there as an overall slut. I don't love the start of Aeneas. I would not want him on my squad. And they got good pass rushers too. So overall, I like the Chargers a ton. Their only underwhelmingness is maybe they don't have enough playmakers at wide receiver. Tight ends a little long in the tooth, and a couple holes on offensive line. So their offense isn't as lovely as I'd like, but 100% usable once you fix those holes. Like I said, even the C-tier teams, I don't know if I said this, but even the C-tier teams are 100% usable on mine with a few holes patched. Like these teams, phenomenal. Like even better than like the lower teams with a few holes patched. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because that's why they're ranked higher. Rams are right here in the C tier also. Like this is just going to get better. They got a hole at tight end. I don't love Cook. He's okay. I think he needs a power up to get to maximum power. Once he gets that power up, he should, immediately become, one of the best tight ends in the game. With the theme team boosts, wide receiver core is strong. And they got Joe Namath right there too. So set feet lead high round master, a very serviceable quarterback. Their defense, Joyner ain't great. He plays under his overall. Weddle, I just talked about him, so I won't talk about him anymore. And then like their defensive, their secondary, I go Peters out here because he gets the 99 speed on the theme team. Night Train Lane at nickel and just go ham. Jenkins, the Jackrabbit could be at CB4 or maybe even you can use him. Yeah, Aeneas would definitely be at CB5 for me here. And then their defensive front is also one of the better ones in the game. Not that it means a whole lot without abilities, but it's still really nice to have. It means more than having a bad front. I will say that. But it's I think it's a little bit more important than offensive line, but still the skill positions are the most important along with quarterback. There you go. At least in Madden. In real life, offensive line is hugely important. We witnessed it in the Super Bowl. Rams, amazing. You're like, wow, the Rams are really good. Dude, all these teams are really good, right? Why do you rank them so low? C and above, phenomenal. But like, you'll see when we get there. I don't think you'll be too upset by what we're joining. Steelers, my favorite team. I don't know. I may have overranked them. They're not good right now. I think Ebron's on the lower end of usable. He's definitely usable. I like his speed. With the play fake chem, you can get out to 90 medium route running, which is nice. They have interior linemen, but their bookends are not great. So that's the worst part to have. Their quarterbacks, Vic, if you like scramblers. I'm not a huge scrambler guy. Never have been. This year, they're not as good as they have been in the past because, you want... hot route master, gunslingers now. Roethlisberger is set feet league gunslinger, I think. So I haven't used him in a hot minute. I think he does get that combo. The wide receiver core, I put Swan over Johnson. Deontay's really nice. Hines Ward is maybe a couple speed too low. Same with Swan versus right now with what a lot of other teams have at wide receiver. Their defense, it's like they got some good cards here, but like I said, they were released a while ago, right? Halloween Palomalo. When he gets upgraded, he'll be great. Minka's just a tad, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's maybe a tad out of date. TJ Watt's one of the best edge rushers, so he's great there. Ham's awful. I don't like that card. Shaz hasn't been upgraded in a while. Mean Joe did not get the stats he deserved for how he truly was IRL versus like Justin Smith. Justin Smith somehow got 90 freaking speed. Cameron Hayward's good. Tuitt, not. And then Joe Hayden's average. Hilton's not great. Lane's whatever. But Steven Nelson and Rod Woodson are solid. Rod Woodson's amazing. Rod Woodson's phenomenal. Nelson's very good. So overall, I think it's a good team, but uninspiring since their cards are so old. They didn't get anything for the Super Bowl. They got a couple cards for the playoff promos for making the playoff, but nothing in the weeks after that, which it's kind of annoying that the most successful franchise of all team, or at least tied with the Super Bowl, tied for Super Bowls with New England didn't get any Super Bowl cards, even though New England got like 8 cards in the last 3 weeks. So the Cowboys, major hole at tight end, major hole. But I like just about every other spot of the roster. Maybe not tackles, but one if not the best. Him and Rodgers, the best quarterbacks in the game right now. Cunningham, they got him. Royer was solid, with the theme team boost, nothing special. Deion's amazing with playmaker. He was the one that really changed the game. Gallup, I would probably start him. I don't know if I'd start Gallup over. I don't know what I'd do. Lance Allworth, another route running archetype, great too. Their defense, Watkins, tall, amazing. Maybe I'd use a Roy Williams, put Watkins back there to use his range in coverage. Their pass rush, Ware, and maybe go Lawrence there. But otherwise, Byron Jones, Deion Sanders, and Diggs. So I can see the argument that maybe they don't have the front that the Rams had, and I'd say that too, but I do not mind having Deion Sanders and Byron Jones as my outside guys. I think they're both 99 speed with maxed out coverage stats. Diggs is pretty respectable himself. I can look at his actual stats to see what he gets up to now that it slips my mind. 92, so 96 speed for Diggs. Not the greatest, right? You want that up to 98 right now. But he's a nickel corner, so it's not as needed. So there you go. I really like their skill positions with the exception of tight end. The exception of tight end, the Cowboys have a very solid roster with some exciting cards too. And that's why they got boosted, because they have Cunningham. Or Culpepper, sorry. All right. We have the Colts up next. Oh, I didn't add them. I didn't add Cowboys or Colts. Sorry, guys. Cowboys. No, I don't want Colts. What am I doing? Why did I say Colts? Saints in the C tier. Cowboys, the Saints come marching into our theme team rankings next. So, solid bookends, solid offensive line all around. No major holes. Lowest overalls in 86. Taysom, great tight end. Cook's great. Michael and Andre. Breeze. Kamara, like best back in the game. But their defense also makes up for it. So they got some very decent players in offense, and then their defense also boosts guys that really get up there for overall reasons. So no weak links in the defense, and a solid offense without any major holes either there. Maybe some less than stellar playmakers. I could see it. But that's where the Saints ranked because of those reasons. Next up will be talk about playmakers. This is like the Stars and Scrubs Super Champ, right? This is great for like a 50 out of 50 because they got some holes, right? You're going to see a lot of holes here. It's like a Shia LaBeouf movie. You're going to see a lot of holes. But guess what? You're also going to see some guys that are God squad. Everybody needs these on their squad, and they only get boosted further with this theme team. Now, you're like, oh, awful offensive line. Their right side is terrible. Todd Heap, Logan Thomas. I'd probably start Logan Thomas over Todd. I think I did when I did this theme team. Their wide receiver core, nothing really to like love. And that's kind of why they're ranked so low. But just wait till I scroll down a little bit. Dog, crazy. Adrian Wilson, Isaiah Simmons. Wow. Then they got the Honey Badger, Buda Baker. Both solid. Tyron, I wouldn't want to use them, so we'd be back there like Buda would be like I'd have these guys at my lurking linebackers because they're so tall, and these guys are my safeties. They're pass rushers, nice. Jones, Abraham, Freeney. They got Pat, Pete, DRC. I'd probably put Pat, Pete, DRC on the outside or roll on the outside. Night Train Lane at slot. Basically another hard hitting safety there. Yeah. Cardinals theme team. This is the one that you'd use if you're going 50 out of 50, and then you sub out, like the worst spots. You get two new guys there. You get two other wide receivers, maybe three wide receivers if you don't like any of these. 3 wide receivers, 2 tackles, maybe get a top end tight end and whatever quarterback you like, and there, boom, you got a God squad. It's phenomenal. And then even just playing it straight, like we were grading these things, also phenomenal. All right, next up. We're with the Cardinals in this lineup will be Falcons. Another Stars and Scrubs lineup. But their Scrubs ain't that bad. Let's think about the Falcons. They got some stars that you'll want on your team. But, scrub right there. But, not so bad over here, really. Tony Gonzalez, once he gets those boosts, basically best tight end in the game. Hester's fast. Ridley's great. Maybe I go Finneran over Johnson or Julio over Johnson right there. They got Vic and Favre, so you can pick your gunslinger quarterback that you want. Favre with a better throw motion, Vic with the better legs. Running back's good. Malloy hits hard. Hall, very good. Malloy's speed ends up being 95, so not the greatest. But you do have these guys right here, right? Sanders, Terrell. Terrell's like the best zone corner in the game. Zone archetype corner in the game. Sanders, best man-to-man corner in the game. Samuel right there with Terrell for an amazing zone corner. So I love zone, and I love these guys. I absolutely adore Samuel and Terrell. Then you throw Deion Sanders, mid-zone elite 2, just play one more AP than the zone archetype for it. But overall, an amazing defense with the exception of maybe a little bit weaker safeties, but I guess the cornerbacks are kind of what I'm Craig-assing about. Abraham's was a monster for me. Freeney's solid. The interior is good. And overall, I really enjoy the Falcons squad. So That's why they are ranked up. They played really well for me when I used them. They are in B tier, though, because, we're still getting there. Next up, Bill, sorry for how long this is taking. Oh, we're already at half an hour. I apologize. I'm going to try to speed up here instead of me waxing poetic about too many of these squads. We gotta speed it up since we're already so long. Offensive line, Logan Thomas, solid. Good receivers. Josh Allen, phenomenal. Malloy, hard hitting, a little slower than you like to see. Poyer, not that hard hitting, fine. Tre'Davious White, Troy Vincent, Gilmore, very good CBs. So, Bills right there, no major holes, but nothing super exciting on their roster, like the Cardinals and their safeties with Wilson and Simmons together. So that's why they're up. They're basically solid all around. Jack of all trade, master of quarterback. Well, at least gunslinger. They don't have hot rod master of quarterback. The Patriots are my B tier squad here too. Again, another master of all. Maybe right tackle ain't the greatest, right guard. Maybe missing a couple offensive linemen. But they got good depth at tight end. Wide receivers are also really nice. Maybe Chad over Gunner, depending what kind of archetype or what you want. Gunner, I know everybody kind of memed about him and how great he is. Tom Brady, if you like the statue quarterbacks, one of the better ones. I liked him. He missed some passes for me, sadly. But overall, Tom's good. Running backs, stacked. They got Lawyers still, another Lawyer team. Logan Ryan ain't great with only 96 speed on theme team, but that's definitely serviceable. That's definitely not something you're going to be like, oh, I hate this card. You're not going to love it. He's not going to be better than anybody else, but I don't know. 96 is like the threshold of like good to great, but not the next step up. Junior Seau, Darius Thomas, you're going to have these two good pass rushers right there. You also have the interior, very good D-line, but right, they got great cornerbacks. So if you don't like Logan Ryan or Malloy, just sub in a couple of these other guys, the cornerbacks there, and then you can kind of do with that. All right, so that is Patriots. Next up, we'll be taking it to the limit. The Eagles. Yes, I made a joke about the band and the team at the same time. Zach Ertz, offensive line, at least on the right side, solid Zach Ertz, best quarterback in the game, or right there with Rodgers. The wide receiver core is a little bit underwhelming. I'd probably put Fulgham up there and start him. Carmichael over Johnson. So that'd be my actual wide receiver core. But defense is where I really liked, right? A lot of flexibility in the secondary you have right here with 96 overall backups. Poyer, we've talked about him enough. The corners. It's just absurd the amount of talent you have there to move around your field. You can throw DRC and Eric Allen back there. I think Eric Allen gets up to 99 speed, right? So you can throw him at one of the safeties. You can use her with Dawkins, Mills, whatever you want to do. Love Eagles defense, at least for, anything you want to do. I just love the defense, right? The offense is where it kind of struggles and why it isn't higher on the list. All right, next up will be another team, the Dolphins, right? It's obviously going to be another team. It's not going to be an actual physical Dolphin that I'm going to pull out of my back pocket. Unless, maybe, Gesicki upgrade was badly needed for this team. Gesicki, he was like an 80 overall before this. The wide receivers are solid. Tannehill, Culpepper, you could choose what you want, Hyrule Master or Gunslinger. Overall, phenomenal weapons on offense. Really liked using Clayton and Parker. Jennings wasn't bad. Did I use Landry over Jennings? Maybe. I don't remember what I used for that. And check out the second channel for the Dolphins team gameplay. Rowe played well for me. Fitzpatrick played well. Like I said, a little bit, not the greatest hitters, but they are coverage guys and pretty solid overall. Hugh Green, fast. They have Kevin Carter, too, if you want to use. And then, dude, Xavier Howard is just like, he must have had 6 or 7 interceptions for me yesterday on stream alone. Right, my user got interceptions, and then this was the only guy in my secondary doing it. This guy's wild. Xavier Howard is just something else. And then you have Byron Jones and Troy Vincent, too. A zone scheme. This is like the best DBs you can have for a zone scheme. Add AJ Terrell in there, too. AJ Terrell's, one speed faster than Vincent. But, wow. I really like this Dolphins theme team. I was really surprised with how well I liked it using it. Maybe get whatever quarterback you want to upgrade it. And last team in the B tier will be the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are another one of those solid all-around squads, but outside of Aaron Rodgers, there isn't really like anything that I'm like everybody goes wild for, right? I guess Finley would be that guy that's a wild card right now, one of the top tier tight ends. Clayton also hits 99 speed. Lazard, I'd be MVS over Johnson, not a question in my mind. Also solid receivers, decent size on them too. Rodgers coming out tomorrow. Defense has got very good players throughout. The only weakness would be like Hyde. He doesn't really hit very well. And then like your secondary, your CBs, maybe your third cornerback, you want somebody a little bit better. So a little thin on depth on DBs, but other than that, basically, you know, you got everything you want for the Green Bay Packers theme team except for like the wow factor at skill positions. We're in the A tier. The A tier. The Seahawks. Seahawks. Let's see what we got for them. Graham is a little long in the tooth. I don't love him. Right tackle ain't great, but the rest of the O-line is. But their wide receiver core, whew. Man, that's hot. Russell Wilson, hot. Running back, hot. Fullback, hot. Chancellor, hot. User Metcalf. Chancellor with the theme team boost, hot. Without the theme team boosts, I mean, even with the theme team boost, he's 96 speed, but man, he lays the lumber. Maybe he'd be better as a linebacker in this game. Laurie Malloy, so they got a little bit slower players right there at safeties. But overall, Sherman's slow. Griffin is fast. So, I don't know. Looking back at the Seahawks, maybe I'm too in love with their offense. And I'm kind of blinded to the defense. But overall, like, I still think there's some good playmakers here. As long as you don't try a man-to-man scheme, you got to play a zone scheme to, like, you know, get rid of a little bit of the you know, speed disadvantage that you have. But the Seahawks, other than that, I love that squad. I love the way Metcalf plays. All right, next up will be the how much a pirate pays to get his ear pierced about a Buccaneer. Okay, so I know Mystic's going to be angry. They are outside my top 5, but only by 1 spot, so it's close enough. Offensive line, strong throughout with the exception of left tackle. Gronk, a little slower than you like to see. Evans is amazing. When I used this Tampa Bay theme team, I did it just like a week ago. This guy was like the MVP. Absolute bonkers. McCarter, I think is 98 speed. Godwin's 99 speed. Warrick Dunn was a little bit worse than I thought he'd be. I didn't really love Warrick Dunn. I thought he was really good. But, like, you know, I think I like Kamara slightly better. But that doesn't mean any knock against Dunn. Get him if you want him. Tom Brady there we talked about. Winfield is good, I would say. Winfield is very good. 98 speed, 95 hit power, but he's only 5'9". John Lynch is also a little older than you like to see for a card. He needs an upgrade badly. Their pass rush was solid. Cards throughout. Sean Murphy was phenomenal with his speed. Barber was okay. I started, I think, Revis instead of Williams, and Revis played well enough for us. So, they are in the A tier because they are solid throughout with some amazing playmakers at wide receiver. Talk about wide receivers. Actually, a team that you know, funny enough, even though the Chiefs are known for their wide receivers and their playmaking ability, you don't really see it on their theme team reflected very well. Dante Hall needs an upgrade bad. That's the one that really needs an upgrade. But otherwise, like, Watkins is good, but I started Mecole Hardman here. He just doesn't have, like, the route running threshold, so he's like my number 2. Watkins at 3 for the medium route running. Tyreek's always a problem for any sort of defense. They have awesome tight ends. I loved you running 2 tight end sets with the team. Offensive line also holds up very nicely. They got the Honey Badgers a little short. Fuller, And then Revis, I think I'd play Revis at safety on the squad, and then maybe, you know, over Fuller. I guess Fuller wasn't bad for me, but I love Snead and Peters, both at 99 speed. Breland up there in the upper 90s too, I believe. So overall, like I said, jack of all trades with some exciting cards too, like Tyreek and the tight ends, and that's why the Chiefs are ranked so highly, because you really don't see a whole lot of holes there. I mean, the Super Bowl promo kind of patched up everything else. The last team of the A tier before we get into the S tier teams, I think this is going to surprise some folks. I think it's really going to surprise some folks. It was strange as, like, I've been running this theme team for a while, and I looked at my roster the other day, and I'm like, wait, who am I actually using on this theme team? It was Randy Moss and, like, one other, because I'm running a zone scheme. Raiders. Raiders are nice for a man-to-man scheme, but I'm really not running a whole lot of players from the Raiders team. I think they kind of held back. They haven't released as many Raiders lately outside of Waller and Moss are the guys that I'm running. You could argue I should be running Jerry Rice too, and I see that argument, but I rotate through receivers, and I ran Isaac Bruce instead of him. But, like, Gannon is not good anymore versus what we have. His release is too long. Cordell Patterson as your third wide receiver is nice, but he's not You're gonna witness greatness, right? The offensive line's only got one weak spot. They've only got one tight end, but tied for the best in the game or the best in the game, arguably. Lots long in the tooth. Mays is long in the tooth. D'Angelo Hall doesn't really hit very hard. Nnamdi's phenomenal, right? Nnamdi just came out and he's awesome. Man-to-man corner. Woodson's awesome. Maybe a speed or two too slow. I think it's like 1 speed off or 2 speed off 99. Rod Woodson is 99 speed on the theme team. DRC's awesome. He needs an upgrade. Eric Allen's phenomenal. I might actually start him over Woodson because I think he gets higher. But Charles Woodson is Charles Woodson. We got to use him. And then uninspiring defensive lineman too. Mack is good. Hendricks very flexible. I like him as a drop linebacker, but that's like drop linebackers. He's great for a 3-5 wide scheme. If you don't go from 3-5 normal, 3-5 wide, I love Ted Hendricks, but I haven't really been using that a whole lot. So Hendricks is kind of like sitting on my shelf too. So the only guys I'm actually using, because I like Khalil, but I like Lawrence Taylor and T.J. Watt better than Khalil. So the only guys I'm actually using right now, Nnamdi were just picked up, Moss and Waller. So I feel like they lost a little bit of luster. I guess I have Jackson on the squad too, but I've been running through a lot of running backs. They lost a lot of that, pop that they had a couple months ago when I did this last time. And I'll show the comparison. So who's in the S tier? Who's in the S tier? Washington. Washington is S tier. This squad is awesome. Look at this. Offensive line. Big hole, but you throw Chris Samuels there. And then otherwise a solid cross. Vernon Davis is the best tight end in the game, in my opinion. He's the fastest. Cooley is very nice. Thomas, I've talked about other teams being more than serviceable. McCardell is good. McLaurin is basically glitched. Deshaun Watson is awesome. Santana Moss, same thing. I might start these two over Keenan. Alex Smith is my favorite quarterback. I loved Alex Smith. I love Alex Smith. If it weren't for the ultimate legend Culpepper and Rodgers, Alex Smith would be my favorite quarterback in the game. Alex Smith is awesome. This Washington team is freaking amazing. And look at their defense. They got Sean Taylor, arguably the best safety in the game. Only on this theme team. Collins. Wow, underrated. This 96 hits hard, and with a theme team boost, it's like 98 speed. Very good linebackers, although you won't be really using them a whole ton. I guess if you don't user Landon, you probably want to sub in the user. But if you don't user him, then you'll have to use Mills. But otherwise, second here, Dion. Hall is okay. Vincent's awesome. I'd probably start. Champ Bailey, these guys are getting upgrades soon, but their defensive line is also, one of the best in the game too. Washington. Wow. Washington is top 3 for me. Number 2 or S tier, San Francisco. San Francisco 49ers. You're like, what? Who's number 1? Some of you know. But again, Vernon Davis. Like I said, best tight end in the game. Look at this offensive line. Really nice. No holes. And a good backup tight end too. Then they got Moss, Bruce, Rice. What? Their only downside is Montana having set feet lead instead of gunslinger. That's the separation between this team and the number 1 one. Just wait for it though. We'll get to that in a second. Like I said, Mays is a little long in the tooth. Tart's not bad. Lott's long in the tooth. Ward is okay. Love it. Ooh. Chef's kiss. Defensive line. The best defensive lineman in the game. Or in my opinion, because of his speed is. This Smith, I don't know why they gave him 90 speed. That's wild to me. Wild that he got 90 speed for a defensive lineman that you can put at D-tackle. So, when I said at the top of the show, I said probably, including the best theme team I've ever seen at any one time, this would have won the award if it weren't for the last team. This is more complete than any theme team I can remember. And maybe this is recency bias, but what? Get to Taylor Mays, and then it's easily by far, in a way, the best. But, it just needed Joe Montana or Steve Young to be great. The number 1 is the last one left, obviously. Obviously, there was Ravens. I was hoping you guys wouldn't look, but I'm sure you guys took a sneak peek. Dude, look at this. Look at this squad. Mid to high 90s across the board on offensive line. They got backups better than a lot of people's starters on their offensive line. Then they got Waller, Coates, Andrews at tight end. Hester, fast. I'd put Brown instead of Andre. Steve Smith. Great wide receiver core. Like the best quarterback in the game. Running backs. Everybody's got great running backs because it varies on every team. Like best fullback in the game. Or up there. Maybe not the best. That depends on kind of fullback you want. But he's a beast to stop. It's like 300 pounds. Weddle, they made him way too good. Ed Reed. Okay, I can see the argument that he's long in the tooth. I can see that. Linebackers. You know, they're just a casual Ray Lewis sitting there. Then they got Dion, Rod, Marcus Peters, 3 guys at 99 speed at corner. You'd obviously throw Adelius right there, pass rusher. You can move Campbell down the D tackle. Judon could be pass rusher. But like, this is the most complete theme teams I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's just wild how good these Ravens are looking. All right, I'll show you off the entire list. Here's the tier list. The final one. Let me know what you guys think, but here's my actual top to bottom list. Ravens are number 1. The S tiers, the A tiers, all the way on down. And then here are the like Raiders. So the Ravens are reclaiming their title from November. They dipped down to 5, now they're back up. Niners have stayed super consistent. They started at number 3, and Niners been there. But dog, if you do the Niners or the Ravens, you ain't wrong. Washington, this is crazy, dudes. Straight up wild. Like, I think he's done a good job with content. But for giving all those theme team stuff to, you know, so many different cards, different spots, and they've spread it out nicely. I know, like, the biggest thing that I've seen out of Ravens fans for complaints is they complain about having too many tight ends. That's their complaints. We got too many tight ends. Oh, woe is us, dude. Yeah, they get one more wide receiver, like, in place of Marquise Brown, and they're like, oh, finally, right? It's wild. Team's only been around for, like 5 years. They just came into the NFL. And they already got this kind of theme team. Crazy. Otherwise, there's got to be a Ravens fan at EA. No way. Take it easy, dudes. Hope you guys liked it. Thumbs up if you did. Thumbs down if you didn't. Leave a comment if you guys think I screwed anything up on the rankings. Otherwise, appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Call to action. I'll see you tomorrow.